Today, you're going to meet a man who exhibited tremendous faith. He exhibited faith when things looked very dark and it looked like there was no solution to the situation that he was facing with his wife's health. And so I want you to turn your attention to the screens. You're going to see about a 5-minute video clip. This clip is on CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network, and you're going to hear a man's story, and then I'm going to be inviting him up to the stage. Would you welcome to our stage this morning my friend Ron Tripodo. Come on up, Ron. It's good to have you here this morning, buddy.
I still tear up.
Ron just said I still tear up every time I watch that video. And also, I thought you might want to see a miracle this morning. And so we have his wife, Patsy, that's right down here in the front. So Patsy, would you stand up so that we can salute you today? That's fantastic. Have a seat. So Ron, I got a question to ask you. I didn't ask you in the earlier thing. When you two were in the kitchen, was that what's called a home-cooked meal?
That is what you call a home-cooked meal.
Okay. I want to come over to y'all's house. Italian style. I just wondered, I haven't seen that at my house, Robin, so I just thought that I'd bring it up. Boy, that just got me in trouble, didn't it? I'm telling you, if I would stick to the notes, I would be fine. I'd absolutely be fine. Let me tell you about my friend Ron. We spent a lot of time together over the last couple of years. We have a lot of lunches, and we sit and we talk. And how many of you in the room feel like that there is a part of your life, that there's a part of your story that you would like to turn one day into a book? How many of you would say, you know, I've thought about writing a book one day? How about raise your hand up? That's great, and that's wonderful. Well, today, he's going to really encourage you about this, Ron will, because Ron, when you were growing up, you and I have a lot in common, and one of the things that we had in common, we were never on the list of who's who. We were more on the list of who's through, and especially when it came to academics, and we connect in a lot of different areas, but we would sit and laugh about, the difficulty that we would have with our grades, but we had the same issue, didn't we?
Yeah.
And kind of share with folks what your issue was.
Well, growing up, I had ADHD, and back then they didn't know what it was, so they just kind of called you dumb. And I went 13 years of school because I flunked the 3rd grade. In fact, kids would say he flunked so many times, he's the only guy in the 8th grade that had a beard and a draft card. But
it set you apart.
Yeah. But my parents were happy if I brought home D's. My mother worked extremely hard with me to get me through school. It was very difficult for me.
And so you're the guy that didn't have the academic background at all, but God lays on your heart to write a book. And when we first talked about it, I recommended a couple of ghostwriters to you and people that I knew that were in that field. But along the way, God just really spoke to your heart that rather than someone ghosting, you wanted someone to ride along with you for grammar and all of those kinds of things, which is exactly what I do. But God really laid on your heart, that needed to flow from your pen onto a page or from a keyboard up on that computer. Would that be the way you would describe it?
Absolutely. Ever since Patsy was healed, God had put on my heart to write this book. And I kept putting it off, and I kept putting it off. And one day I was going through some records, and I saw a quote from a ghostwriter that would charge me so much to write the book. And again, it just started up. And as I came to you, Ike was very, very helpful and influenced me to do this, encouraged me to do this book. When I'm, in the prologue of my book, it says, Lord, me write a book? You got to be kidding. I hadn't even read a book in 40 years, and I'm going to write one? I mean, that's the power of God and the Holy Spirit. But Ike was encouraging me, and I really wanted to, but I didn't know how. And one day I was at the grocery store, and I'd been telling people I'm going to write this book, and the guy said to me, when are you going to write that book? And man, it hit me like I mean like a brick house.
It's a wake-up call.
Wake-up call. I went home and I called Patsy's teacher who helped Patsy learn her math and all the English and all spelling and grammar. And I said,
she had to relearn it.
Oh, she had to relearn everything. Oh, she had to relearn everything. Patsy has had to relearn everything. She had nothing. It was like a wiped out computer. But I went to, her name is Muriel. Now, this is how God uses people. She's an atheist. And I went to her and I said,
it's a great start to write a Christian book. Yeah. I'll get a co-author who's an atheist. There you go.
And please pray for Muriel because I'm always trying for her to see God. So, but in saying that, when I said to her, I want to write a book, she knew me. You know, she knew I had ADHD. She was rolling her eyes. You know, you got to be kidding me. Write a book, and we started. And first 4 chapters were tough. I was going through a crash course in English and grammar. She's teaching me as I'm writing this book. By the time I got to the 4th chapter, you know, the light bulb kind of went off.